Um, Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you all had a wonderful night rest and you have so much energized for today's section, right? So, it's one of those weekends where I think we are expecting of in our region we kind of expect a public holiday because of the Muslim celebrations, Salah activities, and all of that. So we are quite happy, and the weekend is going to be a long one, and I hope it's going to be same for you. Right, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Thank you very much for joining. Today is actually going to be an amazing day, and quite also the end of our series with you guys. Yes, I think yes, this should be the last training with you guys for this particular cohort. Is actually been an amazing journey with everyone here. Thank you everyone for being supportive. Thank you to Leading Women Africa for how far you have supported us in all the activities we have been doing, in all the training, in all the mobilization. Thank you very much. Special shout out to Madeline for all you have been doing. So before I start, I just want to also introduce myself for those that might actually be seeing me for the first time here, but I'm quite sure I'm not everyone am I new to here, right? So my name is Johanna Ayuba. I'm a lead trainer with Impactor. Impactor is actually female focused NGO where we basically deal with empowering women with all the necessary skills, support, mentorship, and all the resources they need to scale in their businesses, in their personal growth, and all of that. So not only am I here, I'm also here with Beryl Okwach. Beryl is going to be my moderator for today. She's actually going to be there in the comment section trying to ensure that she answers some of your questions and also respond to some of your comments. So feel free, please, to just leverage on the comment section and introduce yourself. Tell us where you're joining us from, and also would do well to acknowledge you. Then at the back end of this broadcast, you won't be seeing her. Her name is Judith. Judith is the broadcaster for this section. She's going to ensure that we have a smooth broadcast, and she's going to do everything possible to ensure that we are actually still audible. We're actually still visible throughout this section. So thank you very much, Judith, for the amazing job you are doing at the back end. So I want to also look at the first people that are actually joining us here. So I have Francisca Mapiso. Thank you very much joining us from Lesotho. Thank you very much, Francisca, for coming in so very early. I have Jolene, Jenny from Cape Town. I have Cherit, Jenny from Cape Town as well. I have Martha joining from Lusaka, Zambia. I have Janice also. Good morning, Janice, joining us. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I have Sush, is it Shushu Mapitia? Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for joining. I can see Nubantu joining us from Switzerland. Yes, I can see. Yeah, Sushu says she's joining us from Lesotho. Maria says she's joining us from Port Harcourt. Thank you very much, Maria, for that. I can see Jenny saying she's joining us from Johannesburg. Valentine joining us from Kenya. Thank you very much, ladies. Please, let's keep the introduction coming. Let's keep the introduction coming. We'll do well to acknowledge everyone. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your effort. So today we are going to be rounding up our session with staying productive online. We have looked at so many series. We have looked at how to develop your digital marketing plan. We have looked at how to build your brand and sell online. We have looked at how to leverage on Google My Business. We have looked at quite a number of things. So what we have been saying quite for some time now is go online, stay online, stay online. Now, what does it actually mean to be productive? Yes, you can be online and not be productive at all. You can be online and not even make any impact at all. So now we are going to look at the conclusion of it all. How can we be productive? How can we maximize our time, our energy, and our effort online, right? So that is what we are going to be looking at today. Right, so I have Buchi joining us from Onitsha. Wow, this is coming from Nigeria. So I have Elizabeth Paul joining us from Port Harcourt. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for joining. We are so happy to also have you here today. So let's keep the interaction coming. I want to just set a clear rule here. Please feel free to express yourself, ask questions if you don't understand. If you have any contribution as regards to anything we are saying, please, you can do well, openly go and contribute, right? We are all learning. So I'm going to be asking questions and I need a lot of responses from you as well. So please don't feel shy. use the comment section to ask your question, right? So thank you very much for that. So now, as a form of guide, we are going to be looking at three agendas for today. The first agenda is set up your remote office, right? So being online or staying online has to be that you actually be working from home. It will be that you'll be working from the comfort of your home, your house, or a particular workspace. So the first guide we are going to see is, irrespective of you staying at home, you need to also have a private space called your office space, or call your desk or anything. So we're going to see how to go about setting up your remote office. Then secondly, we're going to see how to build a productive work environment. Then last but not the least, we're going to see how you can manage and maintain your well-being. We're going to see how you can manage and your well-being. So these are the agendas that we're going to be looking at today, and I hope we are so much excited. So before we go further, we do usually announce this is very, very important for us and for you as well. We call it Google Hustle Academy. There's a free bootcamp that Google is organizing or is already in motion. So Google take it cohort by cohort. Number one is actually free, and the bootcamp is an intense practical training section where Google will take you through all the principle of starting your business, developing your marketing strategy, working on your financials, working on also your pitch deck for investors, right? So this training is an intense training and is actually free. If you're interested, you can do well to register. The link will also be dropped in the comment section by Beryl, where you get to have the opportunity to register for that, right? So you get to have the opportunity to register for that. So that is it for that. So don't forget, if you have any interest for it, you can do well to go for it. Now, like I said, I love asking questions, and I also expect you ask me as much question as you can, right? So my first question for you today is going to be, how has COVID-19 impacted your role, either your role, your business, or whatever you are doing before COVID happened? So how has COVID-19 impacted your role? So just do well to share in the chat section. Let me hear. Let me see who is going to be my first responder. Let me see who is going to first respond to me. Let me see. Let me see. How has COVID-19 impacted your role? How has COVID-19 impacted your role? So I just want to see responses. Please, if you can hear me, I don't want to start calling out names. So just do well to just tell me in a simple sentence, in a word, or anything, how has COVID-19 actually impacted your role? How has COVID-19? I'm still waiting to see that. I'm still waiting to see the responses. I'm still waiting to see the responses. How has COVID-19 impacted your role? Okay, I think I'm seeing my first responder. That is Martha MK Kangwa. She said it has reduced my sales. Absolutely, yes. A lot of businesses have actually experienced a backdrop in sales. Francisca said increase in mortality. Oh yes, actually, so sorry. Yeah, a lot of things happened during COVID-19. Nabuntu say giving me freedom, work independently. Wow, while others are crying, others are actually celebrating. So thank you very much for those responses. Thank you very much for those responses. Please keep them coming. You can keep them coming so that we will get to look at them as well. So thank you very much. COVID has actually impacted a lot of things. It has changed a lot of things. So now let's go straight to the first agenda for today, right? Set up your remote office. Now, remember we said when we have been talking about going online, positioning your line, a lot of online things, right? Which means you are going to be doing most of this thing from the comfort of your home or office work. So now we are going or office space. So we are going to look at what does it mean, or what is a remote working place. So remote working is actually a working style that allows professionals, right, to work outside of a traditional office environment. It is based on the concept that work does not need to be done in a specific place to be executed successfully. So I can see Banda says it's been difficult to invite clients over to the farm. So now we are spending more to deliver, hence reducing profit. Absolutely, that is actually a great impact to your business, and we hope it gets better. So now setting up remote place has to be dedicating a particular place, because remote working has to be like working from the comfort of your home or wherever you are, not minding a traditional or a complete office setup, right? So that is what remote working means. So where can people work remotely? Yeah, that question has actually been coming up. Where can I work? Number one, you can actually work from your home. That is a basic place to start with, right? So you can start working from your home. You can actually also work from a coffee shop. Now, you need to be mindful of this. Working from a coffee shop means that your work does not involve a lot of meetings, a lot of communication where there is distractions, right? So you are not doing more of audio communication. Probably you are doing more of documentation, paper processing, and all of that, right? So coffee shop can also be an amazing place to you to work, right? But not for meetings, because there might be distractions, there might be noise and all of that. Then you can also get a co-working space. Co-working space are actually places people rent out for individuals that actually work from home or that want to work from a working space. So you can get a co-working space and just go and rent an office space, be paying monthly or daily, and you can be doing using that co-working space where they supply with constant light, constant internet supply, and all of that for you. And also, last but not the least, you can also leverage on a library. Library is also an amazing place to work, especially with the quietness and how there are a lot of space, tables, and chairs there. So you can actually leverage on a library to work with. So now remember, when you are working, it's very, very important you have a dedicated place in which you get to also work, in which you get to also communicate with people, in which you also get to have it as a place more like you can call your office space, right? So it's very important you have that dedicated space so that you get yourself always in check. Now, what do you need to work remotely? We're going to see some of these things. So if I may ask, for those that are working online remotely already, what do you need to work remotely? What have you ever requested for? What have you ever gotten yourself when you started working from home? So let's see. Some people might need data, some people might need power supply, some people might need computers, some people might need lighting and all of that. So what do you need to work remotely? Let me see who is going to comment on this. Let me see. What do you need to work remotely? What do you need to work remotely? What do you need to work remotely? Okay, Nabuntu say good internet connection. Good internet connection. That is amazing. Thank you very much for that. Absolutely, you definitely need a good internet connection because all your work, all your processes starts with connection. Because you are not even going to be remote if you don't have an internet connection, right? So thank you very much for that amazing response. Thank you very much for that. So now, heater. Francisca say heater, absolutely, especially for those that are actually in a cool environment, right? You definitely need an ISA O. You get to experience a lot of cold and inconveniences. Okay, a Wi-Fi connection, absolutely, Banda. I totally agree with you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. So now these are the items you actually need from my own end. So, number one, you need a dedicated workspace, a space to separate work from home, right? The concept where they say you're working from home, a lot of people might want to just sit down in their couch, lie down on their bed, and say, okay, since it's actually flexible, I can just lie down on my couch or I can just lie down on my bed and work. It actually is not productive. You need to have a dedicated workspace in which you can say, okay, this is where I want to work from. This is where I want to work, right? Then secondly is you need to have all the necessary devices, right? Technologies that help you connect, collaboration, and work remotely. So devices like your internet, your computer, and all the like. So it's very, very important you also have that. Then the internet connection, just like Ubuntu said, and also Banta said, you need an internet connection, a stable internet connection to work effectively. To work effectively. Okay, so that is all the things you actually need to work remotely. And you can have a lot of other things in addition. You can have ring lights to ensure you have clarity of lights, to ensure your video quality is nice and all of that. So all these are addition, but for the basic ones, this is what you need at the moment, right? So Let's go ahead. Now, how do you create your own workspace? You just have to get a workspace in your home. Number one, the first thing you need to do is to avoid the couch. It's very, very important you avoid the couch. Always avoid the couch. Set up a table and chair in a free space within your house that is actually free of noise, free of distractions, and all of that. Then make sure the space is comfortable enough, right? Don't just go and put yourself in a tight corner and all of that. Then consider your posture as always. The seat you are going to be used. Ensure that your back, your shoulders and everything are resting well, just so that you don't have total breakdown, you don't have pains in the joint and in the body because of sitting for a long time in that location, right? So that is how to go about creating your own. So now, the physical equipment you might actually need when setting up your workspace, you might need your phone, absolutely, because you might be receiving calls in your at your home, because probably you are running a business that has to do with interacting with customers via the phone. Secondly, you need your computer, definitely, right, for connecting, for collaborating with working on projects and all of that. Then you need your notebook for taking notes. You might be in a meeting, they are saying something that you need to quickly jot down, or you have an idea that you want to share, you can also quickly jot down and all of that. So it's very, very important you have all these physical equipment set up. Now, we cannot overemphasize, right? Because we're in Africa and we are still trying to transition to the part where we have completely stable power supply, which we're hoping we'll get to that point, right? But it's very important to get a stable power supply, especially when you're working from home, because you will totally need it and a lot of your work will depend on it. So now make sure your generating set is actually working. That is having an alternative power supply for your work. If possible, if you have the capacity to do it, you can also try solar power devices or inverters that are actually going to give you extra power supply, right? Then power banks for your devices, for your phone. Even laptops have power bank these days, because I know for once, me in particular, I have a power bank for my laptop, right? So when my laptop is down and there's no light, I just get to switch in and use my power bank, which helps me in charging my laptop, right? So you can always think about alternative power supply for your system and for your devices. Is very, very important. Don't so much depend on the power system in the country, right? Then find sufficient internet connection is very important. Especially, you need not to also depend on one ISP, internet service provider. You can have two. So consider an alternative ISP as well. So you can have two internet. When one internet connection goes down, you can easily switch to the other one. Find the right router, plug into your Wi-Fi, and also test and compare the internet speed. Ensure that you are always on track, right? Especially when you are working and you need to be engaging in meetings with other stakeholders, with other business partners, with other colleagues, to ensure that you have an alternative internet service, and that you can easily switch and ensure you are using the best connection at that particular moment in time. Is actually very, very, very important you do that. Now, we are going to be looking at what are the challenges of actually working remotely, what are the challenges and all of that. So now there are kind of challenges. Yeah, working remotely can actually be sweet. Working remotely can actually be nice, can actually be flexible, can actually be there, but there are definitely challenges. There are challenges that we are going to be experienced even though you are not going to the office. Now let's look at some of these challenges that you'll be experienced when working remotely. There are many challenges, right? So number one is loneliness and lack of social interaction. Yes, I for one have experienced so much of that, where from Monday to Friday you are always basically at home. When you are done, you just go to sleep and lie down. You have this less interaction with people, interaction with colleagues and all of that, getting to talk, gist, and have all this bonding and all of that. So you have this lack of social interaction. So that loneliness alone is actually a challenge if you don't know how to go about managing it. Then self-discipline is actually a challenge, especially if you are not a disciplined person. You might be tempted to just go and lie down on the couch. You might be tempted to just go and lie down on the bed because you have the flexibility to do it. And it comes with also no employee benefits, all these transportation allowances and all of that. So if you're working from home, for those that are working for companies, you might not get employee benefits. Then hard to switch off. It's very, very hard. Then the last but not the part, everybody will definitely experience it. That is the FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Because you might be at home looking at social media, you might see other friends of yours having fun in the office, having all night party, get together, dinners, and all of that. So you feel that the world is moving and you are not. People are enjoying and you are not. So all these are actually challenges that comes with working remotely. But nonetheless, there are actually benefits also where there are disadvantage. There are definitely advantages as well, right? So let me actually use the advantages or the benefit to console you for those that might be experiencing those challenges. Now, the number one benefit of working remotely for employees is it gives you flexibility. Yes, flexibility to work at the comfort of where you feel comfortable, right? You can work from home, a coffee shop, a library, or even by the beach side and all of that. So that gives you then second most important thing, you have actually taken the stress of going to traffic, right? No commuting. You are always at home, so you don't need to wake up 7 a.m. to beat the traffic. You don't need to wake up 6 a.m. to beat the traffic. Yes, in Nigeria, for those in Lagos can testify, people wake up as early as 3 a.m. just so that they don't get caught up in traffic and they can get to work as early as possible. So it can actually be hectic. So no commuting is actually one of the great benefits of working remotely. Then time with family, absolutely, you get to spend more time. Your family will even be tired of you at some point, so you get to see your family members always and every day, right? Then less distraction. You are easily less distracted, especially if you are not in the office where your colleague will come for office chit chat, they will come for one or two, so you are actually focused to deliver. The last but not the least, it gives you high morale. Yeah, every day you know that you are waking up with so much energy. You don't have energy being spent out when trying to go to the office and all of that. So all these are actually benefits that help people that are working remotely. Now, that is for employees, and now these are benefits for businesses as well. So for businesses, it helps you to reduce overhead costs a lot. So overhead cost has to do with renting a big office space, paying for the office space, powering the office space, providing internet in the office space. All these are overhead costs. So it helps you to reduce that because every staff is actually working from his home, and you're not actually the one paying for those um properties, right? Then it gives you greater productivity because people get to deliver tasks in time and all of that. Then access to wider pool of talent because you get to work and also recruit a lot of people from different locations. Unlike when you are having a physical location, you have to employ people that are just close by to the business, right? But when you are talking of remotely, you can actually employ diverse people. You can actually employ people even outside the country, right? Just like us as an organization, Impactor, I think we are one of also a diverse company where we work alongside people from Cameroon, people from Kenya, and all of that. So we have a diverse group of people, irrespective of their location, right? So it gives us that access to wider pool of talent at that particular. Then the last but not the least, it improves employee and retention because employees tend to be more comfortable, more flexible, more productive, and it tends to make them want to stay because they have the opportunity to explore and be productive. So at this, I will stop here for the first agenda to take on some questions. So please, if you have questions, you can do well to drop it in the chat section, and I also do well to acknowledge that. So I think in the course of training, we have Ezuritina joining us from Bauchi State. Wow, wow, wow! That is actually amazing. Bauchi State is a place in Nigeria, and I think I have been there most of the time. I kind of am finished studying in Bauchi State as well. So thank you very much, Tina, for joining. Then Buchi, steady power supply. Thank you. Access, you said access of laptop, plenty of data. Absolutely, I agree. So if you have any questions, please, you can do well to drop them in the chat section. So feel free, drop your questions in the chat section, and we're going to take them all. And totally, if you agree with the explanation, the introduction, you can do well to just acknowledge with a yes in the comment section, or you can put your favorite emoji that shows that you're actually okay or good with the first agenda so that we can proceed. So if you have question, please drop it in the chat section, or if you totally understand the first agenda, you can just drop with a yes in the comment section and we'll proceed. Thank you very much. So if you have question, please feel free to drop it and we're going to also do well to take on that, right? So feel free to drop any question if you have, and if you totally understand, you can drop a yes. Okay, thank you very much. Assumpta said yes. Nabonto said yes. Thank you very much. Amazing responses there, right? So, but irrespective, if you still have question, feel free. Remember, there are no wrong questions. There are no wrong. Okay, could you advise the best way to balance your time and not be addicted to be online? Well, Martha, that's why we are saying you need to be productive, right? You need to ensure that what you are doing is accountable, what you are doing is impactful, what you are doing is actually driven by a particular goal you want to achieve. So your time being online should be that you have a particular agenda for it, right? And also ensure that you put an alarm, you put a time to check the amount of time you spend online, to check the amount of days you spend on a particular task, and ensure that you are always off those platforms anytime you are done. And you also hold yourself accountable. That is the act of being disciplined, right? You also hold yourself accountable to that effect. So it's very, very important you take note of that. So thank you very much, Martha, for that. Now, going straight to the second agenda for today, build a productive work environment. Now, building a productive work environment is actually very important, especially from the aspect of working from home or working remotely. Now, why your work environment is actually very important. Number one, the quality of your workspace is actually vital to productivity. When you have a neat environment, you have a glaring environment, it makes you want to be more productive. It attracts you, it makes you want to even work in the first place. So you feel this energy, especially when you look at your workspace, how amazing it's been set up and all of that. So get a designated area, find the right chair for you, and get a filing system to organize your files, your documents. So let it not be disorganized because you are too, you know, you can be throwing papers up and down, documents all around. Get a filing system that will actually document all those things for you. It's very, very important for you at that point, right? Now, 40% decrease in productivity due to workplace distraction and 27% increase in errors, right? So this is why you need to stay organized, you need to stay productive in your workplace, because the decrease in productivity because of workplace distraction. So when you're working in the office, you have Mr. A coming to say hi, Mr. B coming to greet you, Mr. C coming to ask you how was your weekend, Mr. C coming to ask you, did you see a particular news that happened? Did you see the incident that happened? So all these are actually distractions, right? They're actually distraction, and they can lead to so much errors, especially when you're working on sensitive information or sensitive rule. So it's very, very important to understand that actually remote work helps us a lot. Now, how can you minimize those distractions? How can you minimize those distractions? The first thing to do is let others know you work, your work hours. It's very, very important. When you are home, it doesn't give your friends or your family members the impression that you are actually not working, you are just resting, right? So let them know that when I'm at home, by this time to this time, I'm actually working, so I don't need to be distracted. Let it assume that I'm not even at home, or let it be assumed that I'm in the office. So let others know your work hours. Do one thing at a time. It's very, very important, especially when you are trying to crush through goals, you are trying to finish up tasks and all of that. You can don't take everything at once. Learn to do one thing at a time. Then avoid TV and household distractions. Is very, very important because they can be distracting, especially when you're home. The moment you turn on your television, you might see an interesting thing happening over there. You might just want to take a look for 5, 6, 10 minutes, and before you know it, you have spent the whole day watching television, right? Then put away all pets. Yes, pets can actually be so clingy, especially when they see you at home. They have missed you so much and they have not been seeing more of you. Those pets can also be some kind of distraction to you, especially when you're working, right? Then take regular breaks is very, very important. Even for me as the person, if I work like an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours sitting down, I have to work maybe take a break of 10, 15 minutes just to walk around, stretch my body, and take tea or take water and come back and continue. So it's very, very important you take break regularly so that you ensure that you don't have a burnout on your body system, and your body system is actually quite energized to continue working and all of that. So it helps a lot. Now, can you improve productivity within teams? How can you improve that? How can you improve productivity? You are working with a diverse set of people, you're working with different set of people. So now how can you improve that productivity within teams? Now let's go and see how you can do that. Now, because you are going to be working with a large set of people, because you are going to be working with different people from different locations and you're not seeing them physically, you need to know how to manage time, you need to know how to manage tasks, you need to know how to track changes, you need to know how to track activities of people. So project management is actually one of the most important thing that remote team members need to be able to plan, collaborate on commitment, deliverables, tasks, so they can need to monitor and see who is doing this and who is doing that and what is working and what is not working. Number first thing is you need to establish vision and deliverables. Know what you want to achieve for the group, know what you want to achieve as a organization, as a business, and all of that. Then establish logistics for the team communication, right? So logistics has to do with more like data provision or gadget and all of that. Promote visibility and transparency of all work. That is why you need project management to actually display what is happening, who is doing social tasks, and who is executing this. Then track the quality and status of project. Project management tools, things like Asana, Basecamp, Trello, and all of that helps you to track project, helps you to know who is working on this and who is working on this and what is actually the status of those projects, right? Then that is actually one of the most important benefits of project management tools. So you need to also learn to um, work with any of these tools. So one benefit is you get to use most of these tools for free, unless you are having so much feature need that might need you to upgrade to a premium version, right? There's now 70% of workplace mistakes are due to poor communication. Yes, I can agree with that. I can totally agree with that. Most of the mistakes are always due to poor communication. So it's very important you over communicate. There's nothing like I'm saying I have repeated this time. So it's good. Keep over communicating till the person deliver, right? So when you drop a message to somebody, asking, are you okay? Have you understood what I'm saying? Still better to give him another explanation so that you don't tend to have a poor communication system, right? So it's very important you be mindful of that. Now we have general communication tools that can actually help. It's very, very important. Some of them we have come across them. We have the Google Slack, we have Google Hangout, we have the Slack, we have the Hotspot, we have Gmail as well. So all these are communications to email for more formal conversation. If you want to do instant messages for fast conversation, you can actually go for Slack, and collaboration tools for project work, you can actually go for Hotspot or the Trello and all of that. So any of these tools are actually going to be very useful for you, especially in ensuring that you have effective communication workflow. It's going to help you a lot. It's going to help you a lot. So just be mindful of that always. Now, set rules to communicate effectively is very, very important. So in order for your communication to be effective, you need to set rules, right? Number one, I said communicate clearly is very, very important. Think about the type of message and context. How does the person take it, right? So some of us at some point we might communicate out of emotion. So probably you are tired, probably you receive a message from somebody, you get overwhelmed and want to respond back immediately. So it's very important to think about the message and the context first before you respond to somebody, so that the person will actually not read it out of context. The person will actually clearly understand what you're saying. So it's actually very important you take note of that, right? Then respond promptly. It's actually good you respond promptly. Set and role model the guidelines is very important, especially coming from the person setting those kind of guidelines, right? So it's very important you do that, and always ensure that you set your communications rule clear in the first place. So that will actually help you a lot in your workspace. Now, there are a lot of tools which we can also leverage on for video meetings and calls, right? You can connect teams working remotely, you can improve the level of communication, and also boost collaboration. Like for we in our organization, I think we leverage most on Google Meet and Zoom every time to communicate and have our video meetings. We also have team hangouts, we have team bonding sessions where we get to have fun activities, right? So irrespective, because we are from different locations, we are working differently, that doesn't mean we'll not have that interaction. So we get to have all of that just from the comfort of our home. So we use a lot of Google Meet and Zoom as well to get to have all these video meetings and the likes. So it's very important you also check out of, and you can see most of these features are actually free. For Google Meet, you can use the free version and even get to host at least 100 people on a spot. For Zoom, you get to have a lot of people, but has a time cap. Unless you want to go for the premium version, they all are actually very good to use. So when you talk of Google Meet, we can see you can actually use your mobile device to do that. You can also use your desktop or your laptop to do that. So it's actually an enterprise grade video conferencing built on Google robust and secure global infrastructure. So Meet is included with G Suite and G Suite for education as well. So there are a lot of features attached with Google Meet. Then when we talk about the Zoom, yes, I think Zoom came to most of limelight during COVID. A lot of people, a lot of things happen on Zoom. So Zoom is an application that can be downloaded actually. So you can actually download it either on your computer or also on your mobile phone. So you can use Zoom to host or join a meeting. Up to 100 people can join an online class or meeting in the free model, right? So that is how Zoom is for you. So Zoom is also an important tool you can consider for your business. Then we talk of Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, I know a lot of businesses, companies also is coming from Microsoft. It's a product of Microsoft. You can also use, you get to create teams, channels to organize your department. You utilize the chat and video call functions to boost communication as well. You share documents and collaborate with ease on Microsoft Teams. So please, all these tools are tools that you might want to actually try out, right? Just not just listening to them because you are working from home. So you need to look at or get all the resources that is going to assist you in saving time, saving costs, leading to effective communication, collaboration, and all of that. So all these tools, you can actually take note of them, go through them, learn how to use them, and also invite your team members to start working or leveraging on it to communicate, to share ideas, and also collaborate. And then we have the almighty Skype. Skype has been there for quite a time, right? So it's for immersive screen video call, send chat invites to anyone, and also you get to also have this effect of blurring your background when you're having meetings and all of that. So Skype is actually an amazing platform also, especially for high rise or big enterprise. Sorry, for big enterprise companies, right? So it's actually an amazing platform to use. Now, let's consider how to run an effective meeting, right? You're at home and you want to organize a meeting with participants, with your colleagues, with your employers, and all of that. So there are very few ways for you to ensure that those meetings are effective, those meetings are well organized. Number one is setting your agenda. Set your agenda very clearly. Set your agenda very clearly. Consider your tone of voice always when you're having meetings. It's very, very important. I don't want to actually overemphasize on that. I don't want to overemphasize on that. Then ensure that you encourage people to use cameras so that you know where they are sitting, you know how comfortable they can be, and all of that, so that you won't have some of your employees lying on the bed and all of that. So encourage people use cameras, then be timely. You organizing meeting for 10, don't come 10:05. You're organizing meeting for 9, don't come 9:10, or don't come late, right? It's very important you are timely always, because it's going to actually count, because people are going to respect you for that, right? It's very important you go through all these things to ensure that you have an effective meeting, and to ensure that you can quickly have a report about your meeting, especially when it has a clear agenda outline, right? You get to also write an effective meeting report at the end of that. So now, video conferencing etiquette is very important, right? So a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't know this, but you have to ensure that you prepare yourself. It's very important when you are jumping on a video conferencing. Dress appropriately. Yes, we have seen where because of COVID, people don't tend to dress fully because they're at home. But when you're on a video conference, you need to dress properly, because people are going to see at least some part of your body, right? Then consider your lighting, a lot of lighting you need so that people can see your face clearly. Then consider your background is very, very important. Consider your audio also, right? Consider your audio is very important to ensure that you have all these set in place to have an effective video meeting, right? So it's very important. It's very important you set that up. So ensure you have all the necessary things you need before you start. That's why we encourage people to ensure and sit down and outline all of these things, set up their workspace at home, and ensure that they have this all figured out when they are working from home or when they are setting up their office space. Now, top tips for collaborating effectively. I just want to give you some tips so that you can actually leverage on that as well. Equip your team with the right tools. It's very important, especially when you're working with different team members. So don't just think about yourself. Ask your team members what they need and ensure that they have all the quality, or they all have the resources and gadget they need to work effectively from home. If they need a new device, if they need a new router, ensure that all your team members have access to all of that before you begin to engage them. Make project management easier. Like I said, the tools are also always available. So ensure that project management tools are actually very easier to use. And if you need to train them, please by all means train them on how to use most of these tools. Then make document sharing easy and accessible. Have a central repository where you drop your documents, office files, and all of that that are actually free for everyone to use. So make it very accessible and all of that. They encourage collaboration within departments. Is very, very important. Ensure that people get to talk with other people, irrespective of whether they are in the same department or not. So let's meet, let's have a general meeting, let's have a general team bonding, let's have a general departmental bonding, right? So it's very important you do that. Then prioritize company culture. Is actually one of the things that will keep the company in shape. It's actually one of the things that will keep the company intact, right? Company culture is very important. Ensure that everybody sticks to that, even when working from home. So it's very important, right? Then final tactics for productivity. Always over communicate. I did mention of that. So there is nothing like I'm over communicating. So ensure that you pass that communication very clear. Over communicate if you need to, so that you don't get miscommunication along the way. You don't get to have communication gap with your team members, with your colleagues, and all of that. Be disciplined is actually very important. Remote working is not a vacation, no a paid leave. We cannot overemphasize. So you're working from home doesn't mean you're on vacation, doesn't mean you just stop your close your system because nobody's looking at you, you go elsewhere. So working remotely is not a vacation. Then have your tools ready for work. Make sure you have the tools you need to work remotely as always, right? So it's very, very important. Then find your booster and use it. Use what gets you energized and ready to work. So some people can leverage on coffee to get energized. Some people can leverage on a lot of water and all of that. Some people can leverage on juice to get energized. So find your booster and always use it for that, as far as it's not an addiction, right? So get that clearly. So I'll be pausing here for question for the second agenda. Please, if you have question, you can do well to do that. Or sometimes say I call on meetings, but attendance was not as expected. I need to strategize. Absolutely, especially in terms of communication and how you get to work with them. Planning and communication is crucial. Yes, I agree. Contact details of social marketer for collaboration. Oh, okay. I can see a lot of activities happening. So thank you very much, everyone. If you have questions, so please drop it in the chat section, right? If you have any question, do well to drop it in the chat section so that we are going to take on that, right? So please drop your questions if you have any. If you have any question, thank you for all the interaction that is going on. Thank you, Beryl, for that. So please feel free to drop your question or give me a yes in the comment section if you totally understood or if you agree with what we have been saying. So please, you can do well to drop a yes for me in the comment section or drop your question if you have any. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Please feel free to ask, or you can do well to drop a yes for me in the comment section. Yeah. So please, if you have any question, while we'll be going to the last agenda for today, right? So we are going to look at how to manage and maintain your well-being. How to manage and maintain your well-being. Okay, Jolene say yes. Thank you very much for that response. So now we have looked at how to set up your office space, how to manage everything. Now it is all about you. We want to conclude it with you as a person. How do you manage and maintain your well-being? Because it's very, very important. You remember we did mention some disadvantages of working from home, the fear of missing out, the loneliness, and all of that. So how do you manage and maintain so why is it important to manage your well-being? We are going to look at that right now, right? Let's see why is it important to manage your well-being. Number one, it impacts your overall health. It impacts your overall health. It leads to greater productivity. It increases your resilience. Remember that it increases your resilience. It boosts your morale and levels of happiness, right? So it impacts your overall health, it leads to greater productivity, it increases your resilience, and also it boosts your morale and level of happiness. So this is why it is very important to manage your well-being. It's actually very, very important you do that. Now, what can you do to manage those particular things we did mention? What can you do to manage them? Now, avoid overworking. Take regular breaks. Like I said, you can be working for 3 hours. You don't know, you are so engulfed in the work, you are so in love with what you are doing, and you forget to be taking regular breaks. So set up reminders to take those breaks, right? So you can have a simple calendar that says after 1 hour, please just notify me to tell me go and take break, right? So you can do that as well for yourself. Then you can be clear with your team when you are leaving, right? So there's this feature uh there's this feature I think I saw on Slack. It's more like a bot. So when you are going for 10 minutes break, it just quickly alerts people on the group and says, this person you have been cleared for 10 minutes break, this person you have been cleared for 30 minutes break. So all those alerts and those helps you to let your colleagues know that you are leaving, and so that they won't expect to hear any communication from you within that time. Avoid turn off notifications when on break. Yeah, you can be so in love with your work, like I said, then you get to see messages and you want to be tempted to go back and respond. Schedule in an activity like taking a walk, riding a bike, or going to the gym at the end of the day is very important. It helps you to stay hydrated, it helps you to stay energized, and it helps you to stay healthy. So do that. Be ready for the culture shift. That's one thing that you need to. So the mindset of having to know that you're working from home is very important. So trust your overall performance. Don't think that you are not in the office, you don't have anybody to go and tell talk to when you are stuck, when you need help. Then rethink the concept of work is very important. Understand your commitment. Then be patient always. So I know in the office, when you face roadblocks, when you face challenges, you can easily call someone, please show me how to do this. So you need to trust your overall performance, be confident, and know that you can also reach out to anybody, even while from home, when you are stuck with anything and all of that. Then understand your commitment is very important. Be patient as well. Now, managing your overall being, like we said, exercise regularly, view mental health as seriously as physical health, right? It's very important. We have seen how people can be stuck in their mind and all of that. Then check in with your manager or team regularly so that you communicate and understand what everybody is doing. Separate your professional and personal life. Like we said, you can be working, but that does not mean you will not have a personal life. So at the end of your shift, at the end of your working hours, you can have your personal life and ensure that you take that serious, right? Then organize in-person social meetups is very important just to feel the environment, feel people around you and all of that. So you don't have all this fear of missing out. So now, okay, I think we kind of practically got to almost to the end of the section. So please, if you have questions, this is just a short, and this is going to be our last training for this cohort, right? So I'm so happy we are coming to this end. So please don't forget, attendance sheet will also be dropped in the comment section. It's very important you fill that up. So Beryl will drop the attendance link for this training. So ensure you fill that up so that we get your attendance, and all outstanding attendance that have not, or certificate that have not been sent, will also be processed and sent, right? So work on everything and send it across. So please, if you have any question overall across all what we have done, you can please quickly ask in the comment section while we still have a bit of time before we round up. So please, you can ask from this topic, from other topics we have treated, please, you can ask. And there are all the other topics that we have treated are also on the YouTube handle, so you can do it to go and rewatch them on the YouTube. Please don't forget to actually click on the subscribe button if you have not, so that you get notifications of all our trainings, right? While discussion, they are excited. Okay, thank you very much for those. Thank you very much, Leading Women of Africa TV. That is a person of Medellin. Thank you very much for all the effort you have put in place. So attendance is very important. Beryl just dropped the attendance link in the chat section. So please ensure you fill that up. It's actually very important. So we look forward to the next call. Absolutely, Madeline. Thank you very much for all the effort you have been doing. So now, what are your next steps? I think there are a lot of people that will look for more resources, more enlightenment, more courses to do. So we call it. There's a link that Barry will also share in the comment section. You can get a lot of free courses, free resources that are going to help you to position your business online, stay active, and all of that. So it's very important you do that as well. So let me see if I can also pin the link uh, to the Beryl, can you repost the link for the attendance? So that I think I made a mistake here. I need to pin it so that people see. So please, if you can post it again, I think I will have to do it. So please, Barry, help me to post the attendance link again. I think I kind of made a mistake and take it out. So Beryl, if you can do that for me. Yes. So like I was saying, there's a link that will also be dropped for additional resources. If you want to learn more, get free certificate and all of that, Beryl will also drop that in the chat session. Uh, wow. I think I did made a mistake. Jane or Judith, if you can just quickly just drop the link for me in the chat section. I think I made a mistake and I kind of suspended my moderator, right? Uh, yeah, I actually did a mistake, Beryl, for putting you on a timeout. I think I was just so quick to actually pin it. So if Judith or Jane can just quickly jump in and do that for me. Okay, let me just post it there, right there in the chat section so that they see. Yeah. So I think I kind of posted it. So yes, the attendance link is now showing on the screen. It's not showing on the screen. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you can do well to do that. So let's actually have the link for the next step as well, Judith, so that we'll also post it in the chat section. So yes, so this is more like another reminder. If you have not registered for the Google Bootcamp, you can also do it. That is Google Hustle Academy, where you get to have an in-depth bootcamp running you through a lot of business activities, marketing, practical, financial, and also how to set up your pitch models and the like. So okay, so Jane has also dropped that for us in the chat section. Thank you very much, Jane, for that. So please, if you want to reach out to us and via any of our social media handle, you can actually reach out to us via Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/digital skills for Africa. If you're on Twitter, you can go to twitter.com via twitter.com/digital skills AF. Likewise, instagram.com/digital skills AF. So you can reach out to us on any of these platforms as well. That of Impactor will also be dropped in the chat section. So please feel free to reach out to us anytime, any moment. So thank you very much for your time, ladies. Thank you very much, Leading Women Africa. And then we'll get to see more of this community. We are going to build so much strength together. So stay in the Telegram group. You are going to be receiving a lot of information via those groups. You are going to get connection. You are going to increase your collaboration and all of that. So it's very important we form a strong community of African women leading the frontiers of business, right? So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, my moderator, Beryl. Thank you very much, Jane. Thank you very much, Judith. Thank you very much, everyone that is here, and also special shout out to Madeline for all your time and effort. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of your break. See you next time.